Hello, how are we all? Well. What can I say? It was an enjoyable game, huh? Welcome to ABW Live. How the devil are we all? Tell you what, we're going to have some fun today. I enjoyed that. First of all, the chat box. J. Rob was first. Joshua Page, Carlito Alguna, John A.L. Short, Daniel Kupka, formerly Noza, Thomas from Norway, Daryl Kane. Wow. Pat Brady, a bag of dicks, we know that is. Daz316, and 235100. Hello, K-Man1867. Hello, everyone. How's it going? I hope you're all well, and I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. It was good fun. Tonight, I'm joined by John Welsh. Say hello, John.
Hello, John.
Every single time.
You keep doing it to me. I'm just going to do it, Jay. Sorry. It's going to happen every time.
Yeah, but that's the reason I do it. You know, it tickles me. It just tickles me, okay? It just tickles me. It's part of ABW Live tradition now. Also, he's the man from down under up north. It's Dom. Say hello, Dom.
Hello, Dom. I wasn't even supposed to be on. I swear to God, you're talking out your bumhole there, Jace. For everyone, I was just chilling out, watching the game, having a grand old time, and then I get a link sent to me that I'm supposed to be on. So here we are.
Right, let's get something straight, okay? Let's get something straight. I have memory, okay, of
a goldfish. We know that.
I know what we spoke about last week. I tell you what, the tappies have started that chat box. I love it. Brilliant. What a time to be alive. Josh Dawes should be here, but he wasn't ready. So we wait for him to join, and he will have a bit of grief when he comes in. Let's get straight into it, lads. Lots to talk about. John, lineups. I was genuinely shocked by having Auba and Mkhitaryan in the starting lineup. What did you think?
Yeah, same. Having those two plus Ozil in the team. I mean, Ozil being in the team wasn't a surprise, but the fact he's in the team then I thought maybe makes it a little bit less likely that both of them would play. I think I put a tweet out before the game saying, it's not exciting, but I'm not sure I'd start Aubameyang. I kind of wanted almost Iwobi and Welbeck to be either side of Lacazette today, just to cover the fullbacks a bit, because I thought that was going to be our big problem today, obviously covering in behind for Salah and Mane. But fair play to Emery. He went for it today. I think his substitutions showed he was going for it. He was trying to win the game. He wasn't just trying to sort of settle for a point or anything like that. And he proved me and a few people wrong, I think, because for the most part, I'm fairly sure he got it near enough spot on today. Different couple of inches here or there and some chances today. Then I think we come out of this game with 3 points rather than one. Not that I'm disappointed with 1 point, because I think it's good. But yeah, brave from the manager. I think it also speaks a little bit to the fact that perhaps he's not so confident with our defending at the moment. So the best way to win a game is just to outscore the opponent. And I think that's what he tried to do today with the selection.
What's happening to Socrates?
Still injured, I think.
Is he still injured? Yeah, he might have. Yeah, I think it's like a week or two, like another strain or something has been picked up. And that's why he wasn't on the bench today.
I get it. Dom. Now, we've been guilty recently of not starting quickly. Boy, that would change tonight, didn't it?
Yeah, I was wondering about this game where, when you recall the Fulham game where they came to play and it didn't serve them so well because they gave us space essentially, and you just saw Ozil tear them apart and everybody else. And I guess maybe that was a similar thing with Liverpool. They're not going to sit back and defend and just not try to attack. So the space was there from the get-go. But one thing that definitely was different was we were going after them, weren't we? We were pressing, and we were trying to win the ball back and transition quickly from the very first minute of the game, and that's something that we definitely haven't seen.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. The lineup, and I had a bad feeling about today. I really did. There wasn't.
Yeah, so did I. Honestly, I didn't expect to get anything out of it.
Yeah, I genuinely thought we could get humped, okay? But the way we started early, all of a sudden, it gets the juices going. It's that pre-match excitement. It's that the butterfly start. And then you saw the way we went at them, we had an early Liverpool, we had a couple of, 2 or 3 early chances. Lacazette had a shot. Then Liverpool came back into it. Then Alba had a chance, Xhaka. And then there was the Mkhitaryan header. And you just thought, wow, okay, we're being really positive. We're going for this. It was exciting. Now, we've just been joined by Josh Daw.
You know what he's been doing, Jace? Just he's been playing around with Apple's new feature with the ginger emojis. I think that's why he's probably late. He's just a little bit excited that he's been included in the emoji game now.
I haven't even got on my phone yet. It's disgusting.
I genuinely think, okay, that Josh is late from being at the Blackpool end at the game midweek, because you were there, weren't you, pal? You were there.
Not all gingers look the same, Jace. We've told you before. Leave us gingers alone.
You look like our fella, bit. You look like him. Now,
I didn't even see the game.
What? Please apologise to the chat box for being late.
I was midway through doing it. Sorry for being late. My Mac has decided to kill itself. So
it's the ginger emoji update. I'm telling you.
Now, Josh,
joining you from a reliable Windows machine.
Josh, if you're late again, we're going to have to, put you in the sin bin. And, I'm sorry. You need to be prepared. The listeners deserve better.
They do. I'm sorry, listen, to all of you.
Okay, you're now forgiven. What did you think of that start, Josh? I mean, I was petrified and excited at the same time. We looked good, didn't we?
Yeah, it was breathless, wasn't it? It was a really interesting kind of first half, because I've really seen us start with such impetus, and Liverpool were, not as strong as you really expected. I think that midfield, they never really got control of the game, and we managed to really get control of them with Xhaka and Torreira really going great guns at that. And yeah, the chances we had.
Did anyone expect that, Josh? Do you think that we would win that midfield battle? There's a lot been said about Liverpool's purchases in the summer and their midfield, and they're trying to upgrade that area.
I mean, there's always going to be negativity around Granit Xhaka, which I think has then kind of dispelled any ability in some people's minds of us ever being able to control any midfield. But when you look at James Milner, Gigi Wijnaldum and Fabinho, there's not one ball player in that midfield. They're just, bags of energy, and that's just about it you'll get from them. And the fact that we had two players that are very comfortable on the ball, great at spraying passes, and we're also doing a wonderful piece of defensive work. I think in that first half, Xhaka came out with most passes, most tackles, and most recoveries from anybody on the field. And I think that just shows how well he played. And I think the other kind of...
Okay, bear me a second. I want to stick on that point, John. Now, you were talking about the midfield battle. You could clearly see Klopp on the sideline being very, very frustrated with his players.
Yeah, I was very impressed with that. It's weird because Liverpool's midfield generally, Josh said it perfectly. They don't really have ball players in there. They just have engines that they'll run back, they'll get the ball, and then they'll either play it long or give it into, Firmino or someone. But we kind of just nullified them. They couldn't keep up with the intensity. I thought Xhaka and Torreira dovetailed really, really well. And they exploited the fact that, Liverpool, kind of like us, like to play so high up with their fullbacks that they use that space into behind, because we know how good Xhaka is playing that ball down the left-hand side. He loves opening his body up and playing that pass. And Torreira as well.
A point on that I want to expand on. I thought we went for their fullbacks. I thought Mkhitaryan and Aubameyang put a lot of pressure and kept them going. And I thought the midfield was helped out by our fullbacks, Kolasinac and Bellerin getting involved, being the extra man. And whereas I feared we'd get outnumbered, it was we flipped that on its head, didn't we?
Yeah, we kind of in a way ignored the centre of the midfield for their team, for them to do anything. And it's interesting that we went with that approach, because you look at teams, everyone has struggled with Liverpool since Klopp's been there to some degree. And the one big surprise, I think, was like Man City, how much they struggled with them. And it's because of the way they pressed, and Pep's team like to press as well, and Liverpool just break on you. And Pep was quoted as saying not so long ago, saying, "Look, you can't. This is not how you beat Liverpool. You have to sit back, be defensive, and then hit them on the break. You can't press them because they'll just exploit the space." But we totally didn't do that today. We really did push on them, and we played a high line, and we gave them a space to run into. But we exploited the fact that what's his name, Terence Trent D'Arby or whatever his bloody name is on right back. Trent Alexander-Arnold, that one, yeah. I always call him Terence Trent D'Arby. It's the only name I can remember. he pushes so high up, and he just could not deal with Aubameyang at all throughout the game, which made me look like a complete idiot because before the game I said, "Oh, this is just not going to work. Aubameyang playing from the left, it's not his best position." But he was getting ripped inside and out, and they had to swap players' positions. And the other one, whose Scouse name I can't remember either, they're all called John Joe, Jinjo, something or other, and they've got about 5 million names. They had to swap sides. Van Dijk was doing his nuts, screaming at everyone, screaming at Gomez, the fullbacks, the midfield, wanted to give them all a slap. And they just they didn't know who to pick up. So, yeah, it was great.
Talking of didn't know, Thomas from Norway's just popped in the chat there. The chat is elated, but the spelling is bad. I love it. You can't beat this chat box.
Oh, I've just got to say very quickly, hello to Kelly Mayer, who had to watch the game with loads of Liverpool fans today. But she found out Liverpool fans have their own Chris Carpenter. They've got an actual pirate, and their one, she sent me a picture, he's got an eye patch as well. So, Chris, you got to up your game.
Does he have knee-high boots?
He didn't have knee-high boots. He had longer hair than Chris, though. And he
I'd
had
say
To be fair, Chris's knee-high boots are just people's normal size boots.
Chris's knee-high boots always remind me of Shrek and the Puss in Boots, you know? He always reminds me of that. Like, what we could do, we could amputate one of Chris's legs and give him a peg leg.
That could be done.
It's an idea.
You can't make him shorter. No, you can't. You really can't. In shy private eye. Dom, the Mkhitaryan header that hits the bar. Whoa, my heart was in my mouth.
Yeah, watching that live, I thought he could have done a little bit better, but then on the replay, he was really stretching just to get anything on it. So it was probably a little bit more difficult than first showing suggested. So very frustrating though, and I remember writing in our WhatsApp group at the time. It just felt like one of those games where we started really well, everything was positive, we were creating chances, but we just couldn't quite be clinical. And on another day, we remember when we beat Liverpool 3-0 that day, and we just at the Emirates, and we just tore them a new one, and Ramsey scored that absolute corker. It felt almost a similar start to that game where we were just running away with it, but couldn't quite find the back of the net. And the more of those chances that sort of slipped by, the more I sort of had that sinking feeling that eventually, we were going to concede, which we did, which we'll get onto. But the positive thing was just the overall play. I think I was genuinely surprised how we weren't just going toe-to-toe with Liverpool. We were the better side for the majority of that game, I felt.
I agree. I got to be honest, I do agree with that. But moment of controversy, Josh. Mane. Now, there's a lovely ball over the top. Mane and Firmino both go for it. Mane's offside. Firmino hits the bar, comes back, hits Mane, goes in, flag goes up. We've heard on the commentary later, the PGMOL say it's it's an incorrect decision. The goal should have stood. But surely he's addressed the ball from the initial movement. Shouldn't he have been flagged offside from the start?
Yeah, I mean, what do the PGMOL know about the rules of the game anyway? The number of decisions we've had go wrong in our total time. I wouldn't listen to anyone from them telling us about the laws of the game. So, yeah, I thought it was offside. John's going to say it's not offside, and we're just going to go back and forth, and neither of us are going to agree.
No, we're not going to go back and forth on this. I'm moving it straight on now. We've spoken about it, so just get on with it.
There you go, John. Get your say.
Sorry, I mean, it wasn't offside, but yeah. All I wanted to say on it is that's the third game in a row, might be fourth now, that we've got a referee's decision in our favour. Like a big one, a really big one. Like we had the handballs and now this as well. It's just bizarre. It's great. Don't
not
bring
used
in VAR.
to it though, are we though?
Yeah,
let's be honest, because
don't bring in VAR.
We've been bent over many a time with dodgy calls. So
I'm loving it. It's very bizarre. I'm just not used to it.
But But this is the thing, John, sticking with you in this. I mean, look, at this point, the game is back and forth. It's a proper Premier League game. We are on top, but Liverpool are starting to get some really good chances. I mean, we look good going forward, but without that final incisive cutting edge. You know, Mkhitaryan's unlucky, but we're not creating those clear-cut chances. And Liverpool are starting to come into it and creating those clear-cut chances.
Yeah, I think there is throughout the majority of the game, there was this sort of interest in who's going to gamble more down our left and Liverpool's right-hand side they're not, Alexander-Arnold isn't getting any cover or any help against Aubameyang because Salah's down that side and he wants to stay out the pitch. And he's sort of getting 2-on-1 a lot of the time with Aubameyang and Kolasinac. But then as the game progressed a little bit more in the first half, Salah then starts to find more space because Kolasinac is so high up and Aubameyang's not necessarily helping him out. So he's starting to get some joy down that side. Hector as well, a couple of times are getting in behind him. I think Liverpool probably had the better of the clear-cut chances in the first half. Not necessarily the better of the game. I thought overall, I agree with Dom. I thought we had the better of the game overall. But in terms of actual real chances, I thought Liverpool had some of the better ones. But credit to the centre-backs, Holding and Mustafi. I thought they did really, really well today. I thought Torreira and Xhaka as well, when they weren't caught out or outplayed, were fantastic. Some of the tackles and the covering and stuff that they did. And that game was like watching Arsenal when we were challenging for titles and winning Premier Leagues, where we would play against Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool's of old, where it was these teams are clearly the best in the league. No one else is anywhere near them. And it's just one of those things where it's whoever takes their chances on the day is going to win it. And it's just two really, really good teams going at it. There was mistakes in the game from a few individuals, but I think for the most part, what today was, if you're a neutral, that must have been an amazing game to watch because it was just two really, really good sides playing some great football.
I'll tell you what I'm excited about, Jace, real quick.
Let me a second. I want to come to it in a second, but funny enough, to find out that point, I remember Steve saying a few months ago now, we were talking about Man United's dominance of the league. And when Wenger first turned up, he said, "Screw that, I'm going for you." And we went for them. And Brendan Almeida, thank you very much. That's 10 Aussie dollars. Keep up the great work, lads. You are
the best kind of Brendan. Dollars. They're dollary dues, I think you'll find, Jace. That's our official
dollary
currency.
Dues. Thank you very much. I'm going to come back to you in a second, Brendan. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate that. You're a gentleman. That's great of you. But I thought that was very sort of early doors Arsenal-esque from Emery. I thought he wasn't going to mess about today. He saw this as a big test for the side, and he sort of gave them the confidence to go out there and say, "Go for them." Dom, carry on. Sorry.
No. I completely agreed. Like, just following on from that, just quickly, I think the reason I'm so excited after that game, even though it was a draw and I felt that we could have probably won that, is because Liverpool are a team that have been a project under Klopp for 3 odd seasons now, and he's had a lot of time, a lot of transfer windows to get his system and players in place. And I remember every single game in our 10 or 11 game win streak that we had, the pundits every time said, "Oh, well, they've got Liverpool coming up. That's going to be the test." And they were almost kind of suggesting that we were going to get turned over quite easily, and they weren't that impressed with what we've been doing. But and I know that you don't want to just judge purely on today, but after watching that, it's very positive that not even half a season in to a new manager, a new system, a new style, players playing, different positions and different instructions, we went toe-to-toe and looked a better team than Klopp's Liverpool that's been 3-4 seasons in the making. So that, I don't expect that we're going to be able to do that every game, week after week, and, go on to challenge titles or anything. But I am genuinely excited and surprised at how quickly we've been able to turn things around from last season.
Tom, would you say that was our best performance of the season?
Yeah, I think so. I think as a complete performance against a really good side that have, that's the thing. Liverpool are going to create chances against any team in the world. They made the Champions League final. You don't do that by accident. And that front line that they have causes absolutely everybody issues including us today, but I felt that we dealt very, very well with them. And our front 3 or 4 caused them more problems. And if it wasn't for Van Dijk, I feel like we would have probably won that game.
I got to be honest, I think it's a fantastic performance all round. I genuinely, you say best performance of the season. This is the performance I've been waiting for. Not the Leicester game. We had half an hour of dross. Okay?
Quick question on this, Jace. Quick question. Do you think it has much to do with the opposition?
Yes.
Because a lot of the teams we've been playing and we've been beating ugly, or we haven't quite been dominating, they're sitting back and doing nothing. And it's hard for any team to look dominant against that. Whereas when you have a team like Fulham and Liverpool that are there to play, it's a different game to watch.
We have players who enjoy freedom, okay? And when you look at the Blackpool game midweek, where they're very well organised defensively, they're not giving you any space, they're not allowing things to start, and they're being very physical in that. You've got to get into a quick early rhythm, and if you don't get into that rhythm early, you're going to struggle. But today, to be fair, we set the tempo, we set the agenda. Josh, the one thing I was a bit disappointed with, we created, John's already mentioned this, but we created a lot of sort of half chances, maybe chances. Liverpool with less possession. I think somebody's popped in the Jack Badley. Sorry, Josh. Jack Badley's just donated a £5. Jack, you're a gentleman. Thank you ever so much. My God. I tell you what, you guys are far too kind to us. This show is for Brendan and Jack. What can I say? Thank you, guys. You're amazing and you bloody know it. So cheers. Thank you. Sorry, back to that, Josh. So, even though we're kind of dominating the play, they're creating the better chances. Now, the pessimist in me was saying, "Oh my God, this is going to spell disaster later." How did you feel about that?
With the way that they were kind of opening us up, it was, I wouldn't say it was expected, but you know what I kind of mean in that respect.
Yeah.
Front 3 in there, they're going to get in at some point. But to be honest, I didn't really even feel threatened by them. The Firmino chance that, we got lucky on that one with Mane getting flagged offside. But other than that, I didn't really feel like they were really getting and making proper tangible chances against us. And on the flip side, I think we were just doing exactly the same. I think if you asked a Liverpool fan, they would have said they were unlucky in front of goal in the first half. And in the second, and Arsenal were getting in behind, making decent chances. But I think it was such an even first half from that respect. I think we were just unlucky, really, because a deflection one way or another, as we saw with the first goal, can open it up for you.
I think that's a fair comment, but we had Virgil van Dijk hitting the post. He had a couple of efforts. He had a one-on-one with the keeper. We had Aubameyang shot deflected, Lacazette just wide. And then we had the Lacazette goal disallowed for Mustafi being offside from the set piece. It just seemed, I know we like to give Andre Mariner grief, okay? But I'd have hated to be referee in that game. There was so much happening. It was such a whirlwind of activity. Two good teams going at each other, But I just felt in that first half, oh my God, they're the ones who are we're setting the tempo, but they're creating the better chances. But like
the energy was insane, wasn't it, for that game? That first half especially. That was the most kind of intense 45 minutes of football that I've seen us involved in this season.
Yeah, that was like FIFA kind of football, really. It was that or a basketball game. That's the kind of tempo that everybody expects the Premier League to be played at every week, and it didn't
overawe our players, that's really, really positive, don't you think, John? That we didn't kind of get deer in the headlights kind of situation happening.
Yeah, I mean, just from the way we started the game, starting that quickly, which is something we've been talking about all season so far. We started so slow, and I was really fearful that we'd start slow and maybe get punished for that, and then we'd have to try and fight our way back into it second half. But we were, I thought, out-tempoing Liverpool at the start of the game, and the speed at which the game was played at, I mean, some of the running, like the covering that Mustafi did in the game, Bellerin, Torreira, and then you look at some of the Liverpool players like Salah, where he puts the ball through, and Mane covers I don't know how much ground to try and stretch to get a foot on it, and he's just short and stuff. The speed that these guys run at, and it's constant, it is non-stop. I mean, I'm glad we don't have to play Liverpool every week, because I just don't think you could physically do it, because that kind of pace and intensity of football is just ridiculous. And I mean, Liverpool probably think the same about us as well, because most of the time they're going to be much like us and just control the game and dictate the tempo. But yeah, it's the best game I've watched this season from an Arsenal point of view. Best performance, and I just think that's the sort of football I'll quite happily see. We've said it all the time, all through all the losing games last season and before, and whatever happened. As long as we're competing and we're competitive in games, yes, obviously I always want to win games, but it's the way we perform, and am I enjoying the football and everything else. And like we spoke to our friend Neil, he was at the game today. The stadium was apparently buzzing. I mean, it was coming through from me just watching, but apparently everyone at the stadium was really, really on it today. And you could see the whole crowd getting up, Lacazette rounding the crowd up every time Torreira made a tackle. The crowd really getting into it. That's what you want to see back at Arsenal.
Let's talk about Torreira, Jace. Talk about
actually,
Torreira. Bear
with me a second before we go to Torreira. I want. There's two things I want to mention. So I'll come to you, Dom, and then we'll move on to Torreira, okay? But I thought, you talk about the pace of the game there. I thought the quality of our play, bearing in mind the pace of the game is so high, was a credit to every player on the pitch with us. Okay, I thought, as much, yes, there was the odd missed pass, yes, we gave the ball away on occasion, but the majority of the quality of the play was excellent, and
Yep.
that was superb. But the one thing, Kolasinac has just come back from the injury. That's his first game this season, and he was all over Salah.
He did very well. Both of our fullbacks were not fit. That's another thing, because Bellerin, even though it was listed as a thigh strain, that's a very generalized kind of diagnosis. But I have a funny feeling. I actually watched him in the game where he pulled up, because he was running into the box, and it looked like a hamstring to me. So to come back sort of 10 days later or less and play a full 90 minutes again in a game like that, for both of those guys, big hats off, because that could have easily gone very wrong.
And it's a big ask against Mane.
Oh, exactly. And Salah, Firmino, like that. That's yeah. And they got, and as we know now from watching, our fullbacks are very much influential in our attacking play, which is probably what hurt us a little bit in the Crystal Palace game, not being able to overlap with a Kolasinac or a Monreal. As Xhaka did okay other than the penalty, but we've just got a $1.99. Daryl Kane's back on the train again, guys. Here we go.
Oh, Daryl Kane. You're starting your nonsense again.
But Torreira, Jace, Torreira. I want to go to Josh on this, because I'm not actually too sure of what Josh makes of someone like Xhaka, but I remember saying at the start of the season what excited me for this was I had a funny feeling we would see some of our players be better players because of a different system. And I feel like Xhaka is one of those, but I think it's because Torreira.
Yeah, I think Xhaka, as you say, Xhaka was a player that I've always kind of rated since he came in. He's had ups and downs, but I feel he's been harshly caught in the kind of crossfire of, Arsenal fans always need a scapegoat, and Xhaka was always there, available as an option for him. And
he was making some mistakes, but he also was playing in a deep role that doesn't really suit him.
But which players don't make mistakes, to be honest? And it's the ones you point out. There's always fans' favourites, and we've had the conversations like with Jack Wilshere. The man can do no wrong, and there are still players out there like that for us that can do no wrong, and other players that every mistake they make is magnified 100%. And I think that's where we're at with Xhaka. And this kind of performance that he put in was absolutely superb, and it shows why the likes of Arsene and Emery have got so much faith in him. He's played 50 odd games out of 55 for us in the league in the last 2 seasons. It's been absolutely insane for how much we're using him, and the amount of flack that he's got for performances that he's not necessarily putting in. And I think, yeah, when you say you've got someone like Torreira next to him, who's got that energy, he is raw. I wouldn't say he's the finished article. Torreira, he's still got that mistake in him where he'll hold on to the ball a little too long, or still learning the league of when he can and can't necessarily go over and buy a foul. But by far and away, he is one of the most important players that's come in for us this summer.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, Torreira's quick feet.
Got another dono, Jace. Don't miss it.
Oh, well, I'm trying to do tweet. Where is it? Where is it? Who is it? Who's done this?
Tierno Barry with a tenner.
Oh, Tieno, thank you very much, mate. That's really... Oh, bloody hell. Tieno Barry, you're a rock star. I tell you, we've got a few rock stars here tonight. That's really kind of you. Thank you ever so much. We keep on getting blown away by you guys. Your generosity is beyond belief, and there's 4 of you tonight where, you know, you're going to keep... We're going to be safe on hosting fees for quite some time. Tieno, thank you very much, mate.
I'm going to be asking Danny for a improved contract, though.
You're not getting any biscuits. Behave yourself. Tieno, thank you. I haven't seen the name of the box before, so welcome to the chat box, and enjoy with the guys. Thank you. Right, so that's the first half wrapped up. Now, whereas Tieno, Daryl, Jack, and Brendan have been so generous at the time, I feel there's a few of you in the chat box and listening live right now who aren't fulfilling your obligation to ABW. Okay? There's 240 plus of you watching, and I've only got 76 likes. Who the hell do you think you are? Why do you think you can come into this chat box and not give us a like? For crying out loud. Tappy, let's get going. Come on. You know, we've had a great performance tonight. It's been a lot of fun. Everybody's happy. But you've got to bring me down with this nonsense and not giving me a like. Thank you. Let's get going. Tap, let's go. Now, let's get back to this, John. You know, we kick off the second half and we are ultra positive again. And you just thought, wow, this is really, really aggressive from Emery.
Yeah, I think it was funny seeing that Liverpool were out so early as well. They had a very, very short team talk, obviously at half time. They're out on the pitch and they were waiting. And the Arsenal boys walked out. They looked calm, looked fine. You know, there was no sort of worries on their face. They're all smiling, happy. And because of the way we started the first half, and then we kicked on the second half again as well, I was like, my pre-match thoughts were, I'm worried we might get really humped here today. And gets to half time, and now I'm thinking, well, second half is when we get all the goals. This is it. We can go on and win. This is, you know, we got a bit of luck with the referee's decision, and Van Dijk, you know, being a centre back and not a striker when he got that ball and got the chance in the box, we can go on and win this. They were still struggling at fullback. They still hadn't really worked out what to do with Aubameyang. They hadn't sorted out the problem there. No one had really picked up Lacazette properly in the game. Ozil had been quiet, but he was still getting the ball in some dangerous areas, so there was still hope that he was going to do something there as well. So yeah, I just the whole attitude of the team, the stadium, Emery as well, so much energy, just everything felt really good. And Klopp was the one who, I know he's very animated on the sidelines anyway, but it wasn't his normal sort of jovial laughing, you know, with his horrendous Robert Firmino teeth that I don't know, he's obviously gone to the same dentist. He was really, really angry and constantly screaming at his players because they just weren't doing their jobs properly or picking up. And they had to change their system to 4-2-3-1. They switched things around a little bit. And to be honest, I don't think it made the biggest difference at first in the game because we still were dealing with it well and they weren't picking up our players.
Yeah, a quick question for you. The Fabinho challenge on Torreira. There's an elbow in there. I know Torreira's short. Only a yellow? Is that right? Or
for me, it didn't look like it was intentional. You know, like he's gone for him. It's more he's tried to muscle strength him off the ball, but because of his height, I think because of his height, obviously his elbow's just going to be there anyway. If Torreira was a I don't want to say regular height person because it might upset Chris. But if
Oh, look, yeah. Torreira's twice the size of Chris.
We don't want to be heightest on this show,
Yeah,
Jace.
yeah,
It's 2018. Come on.
yeah. I do not define people by their height. If Torreira was average height, I think it's fair to say, then it's a shoulder-to-shoulder challenge. But no, I don't think it was an intentional. I'm going to swing an L. If it was intentional, he's going to do it properly. Fabinho's Brazilian. He played in the Brazilian leagues when he was younger. They know how to beat people up properly.
He should have had a yellow before that, though. To be honest,
I think the thing is, yeah, he should have been booked. He'd committed enough fouls that he should have had a yellow before that one. But no, I don't think it was like a straight red or anything like that.
Okay, fair enough. Dom, you know, we're about 10 minutes into the game. There's lots of pressure from us. But the chances aren't clear-cut. I go back to it now. You know, were you getting frustrated at this time? Because you know what's round the corner.
Yeah. No, I like I said, and I wrote it in the WhatsApp group a couple of times, it just felt like leading up to the Milner goal that it was almost a self-fulfilling prophecy, that the more we went forward and couldn't quite find that killer edge that we've had recently, to be honest, in front of goal, just one of those frustrating games, and that starts to play on the players' minds a little bit, and they start to maybe lose a little bit of confidence, and yeah, like the situation that led to Liverpool's goal was just a little bit messy, really, wasn't it? There was a deflection in there somewhere. There was a save that got parried back into the middle, and Mustafi almost cleared it off the line, and Leno almost saved it at the same time, and it was just it felt really frustrating, to be honest, because it was against the run of play. You know, I feel like we had the upper hand up until that point. But you know what was nice to see? I mean, we can talk about the goal a little bit more. As soon as it went in, I saw Mustafi geeing people up and saying, come on, this is all right. Don't worry about it. Let's go. Let's go. And it really didn't seem like it affected us too much.
No, I think there was a real confidence in the performance at that point. Josh, the goal, let's talk about it. Hector gets kind of caught pushing up, doing what the manager's asking him to do. It's a good ball to Mane. Mane puts in a great cross. I know a lot of people are going to go for Leno on this, and he should do better, but it's a fabulous outswinger. Leno can't catch it. He can't punch it away. It drops to Milner. He gets it on target. Holding's a bit unlucky in trying to deflect it. And as Dom said, Mustafi's a bit unlucky as well and not quite getting to it to clear it.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a great cross, to be honest. It was a ball into the area. It was really similar to the Kolasinac ball in the first half, where he should have arguably pulled it back to either Ozil or Lacazette, who were hanging around the area at the time. But yeah, it is frustrating, and it was one of those that, yeah, it's annoying that Leno, can't hold on to it. There is a bit too much fizz on that ball for him to really, really get his hands around it. And then it's just unlucky it comes off Rob Holding's heel, and who's the first one to it? It was James Milner, and he's just absolutely buried it. There's not really too much you can kind of really legislate for that after you get a horrible deflection that doesn't really go your way. And arguably, with the way that the offside decision we got away with earlier, perhaps it was deserved from Liverpool at that point. But I wouldn't say the fact that, Bellerin's positioning wasn't really a problem for me at all, to be honest. The ball goes in, the errors start with Leno for me, because he should be dealing with that from my point of view.
He should, but he's stretching, isn't he? He's at full stretch. To be fair, it is outswinging. Okay,
Yeah, so he has the option of either he's going with his hands, he's going with an open palm. So he's obviously decided he's going to try and catch it. If he goes with that flies out of the box, and that's not a problem. That goes straight out. We're going up. We're defending. Holding Mustafi, they're facing the right way, Jess. It's not a problem. That's where the mistake starts, not with Bellerin getting the ball in.
My point would be on that, Takeda. If he tries to push it sideways, there's Salah behind him again. The back post.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know who's running into that back post either. If he lets that go,
and if he goes to punch it, he doesn't reach it because he's gone with he's only reached that with his fingertips. This is the problem. He's been done by the curve on the cross.
The thing is, when you can see goals like that, like I said last week, it's a concession of mistakes that lead to a goal like that. The cross came in, could have been better. The clearance could have been better. There should have been someone sitting in that spot to block a shot or to not let someone run in on it. And then it was, it was. I'm not going to say lucky. It was a good strike from Milner, but it just missed holding, and then Leno nearly saved it, and then Mustafi almost got to it, and so it was one of those ones.
The one thing I try to say about it is Leno's fault. He's got to deal with those. He's got to learn to deal with those. I make no bones about that. But I think you have to appreciate a really good cross put in and a fine finish from Milner. Sometimes we get done by good play as well. In the same way, our play is good. That they earned that. But John, the response was epic. We straight away, Torreira has an effort. Ball kind of gets under his feet, so it's straight to the keeper. But the response from the team was really good, wasn't it?
Yeah, like Dom said, after the goal's gone in, Mustafi's geeing everyone up. Heads haven't dropped. There was kind of less finger pointing than I've seen in the past as well. When we've conceded goals, there's always a kind of, why aren't you here? Why weren't you doing this or whatever? It's more of a collective, no, it's fine, let's keep going. I think Josh is right in that it was kind of, it was a little bit against the run of play, but maybe balances out by the fact they should have had a goal earlier. But the attitude of the team was great. The Torreira chance is really disappointing because he does everything right. He drives through midfield. He doesn't often get to go forwards like that. I think he only really made a mistake earlier in the game where he shouldn't have. But at that point, he makes the right decision, goes forward. He's always looking for the pass, but then those channels close up, so he gets the space. And if he just puts it either side, I think he's got a goal there. And he can strike the ball very well. He got a good couple of goals to Sampdoria. And I'm sure he will, at some point it will start scoring them for Arsenal as well. And you can see he was really disappointed with his effort. But just the general attitude of the team, I thought was really, really good. Emery as well, geeing all the players up. The players didn't let him down today. I thought they did really well. The crowd as well was fantastic. Yeah. That's the sort of thing where a goal like that goes in. And in previous times, I think because of the way we'd maybe been performing in a game or the expectation, the crowd might either go a bit quiet or might turn a little bit on the team, but they didn't. They stuck with the team. They kept them going. And I think it's because the team were performing the way they were, the tackles are flying in, we were playing at a very quick pace, and we were, still pressuring Liverpool and forcing errors because of the fact they stuck with them today. And I do think that does make a genuine difference when the crowd is behind you. It really, really does make a difference.
I think the performance, I think the players and the manager took real confidence in the performance. I think the crowd fed off it. I think it was, there was so much positivity around the team and self-belief from the team. I haven't seen that in a long, long time, in the kind of attitude that we had. I know we've come back and beaten teams in the latter years of Arsene's reign and what have you. But there just seemed sheer belief, to be fair. Dom, having said that, Liverpool, Mane just misses a cross from, is that Firmino Salah? I don't remember. Firmino heads wide, VVD misses a header.
Yeah.
They could have been 3 or 4 up, couldn't they?
I still feel at that time we were still creating some good attacking moves. I felt Ozil worked his way into the game as the game sort of went on. I feel that he was a little bit quiet in the first half, and I think that comes down to what Josh was saying earlier about the Liverpool midfield, and they're not ball players, so to speak. They are there to just hold space and not let people like Ozil get off the chain. But to his credit, I felt that he did work reasonably hard in terms of his output, and he kind of found some more spaces. And even though he wasn't as influential as perhaps we hope, I feel that he was still behind a lot of our attacking moves. And you're absolutely right. Liverpool definitely had a little period there. But again, you have to expect that. And I felt that we rode our luck a little bit, but I felt so did Liverpool. If it wasn't for Van Dijk in a few of those little moments, I think we would have put 2 or 3 past them as well. So big shout out to our centre backs today, because I felt Mustafi and Holding were very, very good against very, very difficult, tricky, fast attackers that have given everyone grief. And I know that I'm critical of Mustafi, and he seems to have these moments in concentration where he'll do something silly. But today, I think he got everything spot on, Jace.
I think his leadership today was superb. I thought his
and that's the frustration, because you see that player in him, or I see that player in him, and you just see that he lets himself down with these silly mistakes every now and then. But today, I think he got everything spot on.
It's this side of it where, okay, so when you're hosting this, you have to play devil's advocate on occasion. You're trying to put in points to challenge people and what have you. But Mustafi's genuinely a player I really like. I see the good in him. You can't ignore the bad in him. He does go to ground too quickly a lot of the time. But, there's a good defender who has concentration issues and needs some serious coaching on that and his decision-making around going to ground. Because I think, when you see a performance like that from him, you see what he can bring to you. And that's really positive. Josh, Dom there mentioned Mesut Ozil. Now, I don't think he was bad. I think he could have influenced the game a lot more. I think, but is that an issue where Emery needs to sort of, form a tactic to play him into the game? But we were going wide a lot, weren't we? We were attacking their fullbacks in the same way they're attacking our fullbacks. But the changes came. Iwobi and Rambo come on for Mkhitaryan and Aubameyang. I felt they'd had more of a positive influence on the game because of the way we attacked Liverpool. Is that fair, or would you disagree with that?
Yeah, are you linking that to Mesut Ozil as well?
Yeah. I want you to talk about it all, because to me, I don't think you can leave that 10 with our setup. I don't think you can leave the 10 position empty. I don't think the way we were playing, you don't drop in a deeper player at that point. But with everything attacking the full-backs, I was a bit surprised by those substitutions, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I thought Mesut Ozil, for me, had a good game. I wouldn't say he was bad at all by any stretch of the imagination. Perhaps when we're looking for direct output, and that's where we say that he's not necessarily having a great game, when we're looking for the assists or the goals, but the fact that he's there as that metronome, and we had almost every single one of our players is a ball-playing player against that Liverpool side, which doesn't, it's just as a smash it up long field and we'll all chase it kind of team. Whereas, I say, but Mesut Ozil was really playing really, really well. Mkhitaryan, on the other hand, was having a very hot and cold game, as he does. I saw a great kind of analogy for it, that if you said Mkhitaryan was 17, you'd think, oh yeah, that's the kind of performance a 17-year-old youngster puts in, hot and cold. Unfortunately, he turns 30 in this year. So I thought with his performance that, he did need to come off, and we did need something a little bit different, a bit more impetus in that point of view. And the same with Aubameyang was... So in that first 20 minutes, of course, he was absolutely superb. He was getting in behind. He had Alexander-Arnold on toast most of the time. And it wasn't really giving us anything more. So having that switch in, Iwobi coming on, was he first to come on?
Iwobi came on first.
Yeah, for Aubameyang. And I think just that move for it, we already saw a change to have another ball player in play rather than a striker. We just opened that field a little bit more and allowed Lacazette almost free reign of the box at that point to get in and grab the goal. And then adding Aaron Ramsey on top of that as well, I think everybody who came on had a superb performance from them from that point of view and what they were doing in the game.
Yeah, it's one of those, you've got runners and somebody who drives with the ball and to create space. John, your thoughts on Mesut? I didn't think he was great today, but I don't think he was bad at all. I think, but it's a difficult one because he's the star man, and after that Leicester performance, you just wanted him on the ball a bit more. What were your thoughts?
Just quickly, apologies if you can hear fireworks over the sound. Can't help it. There's not a lot I can do about it.
Hey, they're everywhere, mate. They're everywhere.
So apologies to anyone listening on iTunes or anything, or people live now.
It's like the song out my back. Boom, boom, boom. Okay.
No, I thought Isa was okay. I think the fact that we used so much width today negated how much of an influence he had on the game.
Yeah.
I think if I was at the game and you got to see the whole sort of pitch and stuff, then you could maybe see, or actually the positions Ozil's taking up, although he's not on the ball, he's pulling players about a bit and distracting and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a few times he played some nice balls in, and I mean there was the flick he did for the Lacazette chance in the first half. Sort of like he's got his back to it and he knows exactly where Lacazette is, and Lacazette gets it and he put the shot just wide. I mean, things like that, little moments like that, absolutely magic. So he still had that in his locker. I think for the most part Liverpool dealt with him quite well. But the few times he did get free and get on the ball, I thought he was good. It was a quieter game for him, but I think he
wasn't a passenger though. I felt today, John.
That's the big difference. In previous big games, he's disappeared. Like I haven't seen him at all.
He was a little physical in moments. You know, he got in front of players and drew fouls, and that's the part of it that I think, for me personally, I don't know about you, that's nice to see when it creeps in. If he's having a quiet game offensively, that he's not a complete passenger.
Yeah, he was still affecting the game, if just not in the ways that we would either expect or want him to, which is a big plus, because I think in the big games he has in the past just completely disappeared, and literally it's been like playing with 10 men. For the substitutions, I actually thought I said if you're going to make one, like take Mkhitaryan off, because I thought he was probably at that point the player making perhaps the most errors. That was some misplaced passes and stuff, and Iwobi was the player I wanted to come on, because I just felt that Aubameyang had died down a little bit. He got a little bit quieter, like Josh said, and he's been so good this season, particularly when he's got the ball and he's running at people. And we know Liverpool fullbacks like pushing on, and it's the one thing we hadn't done against Van Dijk or Gomez yet, was really run at them with the ball. And the moment he came on, he really did start doing it, and I thought he affected the game brilliantly. And I love the fact that all the substitutions were positive. Every single one was to win the game.
Do you know what I really like about Alex Iwobi this season? Okay, he'll lose the ball, make a bad decision, or give a bad pass. Last year, I felt he let that get to him mentally. This year, we're seeing a bit more mental strength from him. He's a lot more direct. He plays with a lot more conviction. We're really seeing him flourish. Dom, and one of his little driving runs and passes led to the Lacazette goal. The pass is kind of away from goal. Lacazette is coming away from goal, but what a turn and shot. Talk to me.
Yeah, let's speak about this one, because that was one of those get off your chair moments again, wasn't it?
Excuse me. The official description for that goal is a fucking worldie.
Yeah. I went from 6 to 12 very quickly. That's how you know. That's a good indicator. I actually thought, as it was happening live, I thought that Lacazette may have even gone down for a penalty with Alisson coming out as quickly as he did. But fair play to him. He took the ball away from him a little, span back around, and knew exactly what he was doing. He just got that little extra touch to open up the space, to curl it around all the defenders, and just absolutely leathered that. He's just, every single time I see him play, he's just impressing me more and more. Because I felt today, it wasn't just that little moment. There was a lot of other moments in the game where I think there was one where he could have passed across the goal to Aubameyang if he'd done it a little sooner, and it didn't quite come off. But his defensive areas of the game today, where he was getting back, and he was in the defensive midfield spot a few times today. He really was working really, really hard to make sure that he was influencing the game at both ends of the pitch. And for your number 9 to be doing that, really, really positive. So, big shout out to Lacazette for his overall performance today. I'm probably going to give him the man of the match, me personally. I'm probably come to that later anyway. But he really is that guy at the moment that maybe we haven't had since an Alexis, when he used to be able to pop up and smack in a goal from anywhere. And we kind of missed that for a little bit. But now we've got someone like Lacazette running around. I feel like he's a similar mold. You know, he has the ability just to change the game in a few minutes.
Sorry, Joshua Page just asked, question, does the Pirate need new silk sheets after that Laka goal? Joshua?
Yeah.
The Pirate needs new pants after that Laka goal. He couldn't get the sheets quickly enough. It was a wonderful turn. He knew where the goal was. It was a beautiful finish. But Josh, as Dom says, his work rate, his tenacity in the tackle, his desire to keep on doing the right things at the right time. He keeps on making those runs. He keeps on working hard, regardless of how well the game is going for him. He's reached a different level this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think we saw this from him last season as well, but he was carrying that injury for the first half. When he came in that second half of the season, I thought he was showing us the player that he was at Lyon. And yeah, I think absolutely superb for the work rate that he's putting in, the fact that he's more of a link man. You know, we were kind of worried when we were losing Olivier Giroud that would we have someone that could step up and even show, you know, even half of the ability that Giroud had with the link-up play and having us coming forward. But the way that he's kind of got in and taken that upon him, because he wasn't starting games at the beginning of the season, you know, not going to the World Cup, same as Aubameyang, and for him to start on the bench for the first couple of games, to really come in, take the ball by the horns, take his chances, has been absolutely great. And the goal he scored, it's a great finish. Great finish. I wouldn't say it's world class, but it was a great finish.
Oh, you're such a sourpuss. It was a worldie. Stop it.
It was not a worldie.
The turn was phenomenal. The way he turned, there was no stopping it. It's a worldie, end of.
It was a good goal. You got a nice curl on it. Alexander-Arnold was out of position, which certainly helped give him the gap. But yeah, it was. I'm not saying it was a bad goal. You know, it was the truest level, for God's sake. But
okay, chat box. At BN Josh, if you want to give him some abuse on Twitter, crack on, okay? Because I'm not having that. I'm just not having it. You know, I mean, Josh has brought shame upon ABW Live now, and that's the way he is at the moment.
First of all, he turns up 5 minutes late.
Well, yeah, you know, to be honest, he nearly got ejected there and then. We weren't messing about, but I'm not being funny, okay? As Lord Hillwood says, Josh wouldn't know world class if it smacked him in the nuts. Correct, Steve. Correct. Yvonne's going to leave. Hey, Yvonne, okay? You take care. Lovely to see you. You are our favourite. We love you, Yvonne. Take care. John, Mane has a miss, and then Hector. Hector's played in edge of the box.
Yeah.
Why?
Any other player? I had the NBC commentary here, so it had Graham Lasso and Lee Dixon doing the commentary with Arlo White.
It's always hilarious when Dixon's on, isn't it?
Yeah, and Dixon went, "Oh no, of all the players to fall to, it's like me and my left foot." To which Graham Lasso was obviously laughing hilariously at and said, "Yeah, Dicko, that would have been exactly you." But he said, "Then again, I shouldn't say anything because I didn't have a right foot." Yeah, I think overall, like getting the draw was probably a fair result on the game for the two teams. But yeah, it was a great opportunity, like right at the death. Just of all the players to fall to, you know, you would have expected that. Could that have been Xhaka on his left foot or something like that, you know, or Mesut maybe. But yeah, fair play. I thought Hector had a brilliant game. Other than that, and he'll be disappointed he didn't at least put it on target. But look, I can't even kick a ball with my left foot more than about 2 yards without probably falling over. So I've got nothing I can say about it.
I'm not being funny. It would have trickled over my left foot, but me and Josh commented on it in the WhatsApp group, and it was just like, oh no, you know, because it was a great bit of build-up play. It was a fantastic opportunity.
That's just where you wish Xhaka was on the end of it, don't you?
Yeah.
I just wish it had been played on his right foot because Hector's shown us in the past he can finish. You know what I mean? If that's just, it was just one of those things where I think if we'd have won the game, we could have said we deserved it. Do you know what I mean? A draw is probably a fair result given the given the chances Liverpool created, but it was just a frustrating one. That's the game. That's it. Let's wrap that. Let's wrap it up. A really, really fantastic performance. Okay, and it's probably the performance I've been waiting for. Do you know what I mean? It's the performance I've been waiting for from this team, and I really enjoyed it so much. The question has been put in the group in the group chat there of man of the match. John, your man of the match.
I'm going to give it to Xhaka today. I thought he was absolutely superb. It was a real toss-up between him and Torreira. Xhaka just edges it for me because he ran half the length of the pitch and did a slide tackle perfectly timed on Mo Salah breaking into our box, which was amazing. And I don't think anyone would have said that would happen at any point during the game. Or if they did, they said that he would have gone.
That was huge. That was huge.
Would have gone through him.
The chance of giving away a penalty at that point as well, it was massive, and he turned it.
It was so well timed. Don't get me wrong, there was so many good performances today. Torreira was amazing as well.
Okay. Right, okay. You're a fanboy. You're a Xhaka fanboy. I get it. Dom.
Like I said, I'm going to give it to Lacazette because of his goal and all the rest of his play that he did as well. But that goal got us a point. Let's be real. So I'm going to give it to him. But just quickly, honourable mentions to nearly everyone on the pitch today. And that's when you know that you're doing well. And it's a good team performance, because in the chat box right now, we've got, the same Xhaka, Torreira, Lacazette. Everyone's kind of, the centre-backs are getting a mention, and everyone's kind of got a little bit of a different opinion going on, which is exactly what you want. And that's a reflection of a good team performance.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Josh.
Iwobi? No, it was Xhaka. Xhaka for me. Yeah.
Another Xhaka fanboy. Okay. No.
I mean, what about you?
My credit's due. Yes.
I got to be honest. I thought there were a host of people with their hands up. If you'd have given it to Mustafi, Xhaka, Lacazette, I couldn't argue. But I think for me, I'm going to give it to the manager, because if you'd have told me after that Palace performance that this team would have gone out there so well prepared, so full of confidence, started so quickly, there's obviously been a lot of work done this week on the team with how we're going to attack the game. And I just felt he got, as Josh said earlier on, he got the substitutions right. You look at Kolasinac's performance. You look at the way
both
he
the
was.
Fullbacks.
Yeah,
both of them.
Yeah. Hector was amazing. Okay, but there was one point in the first half where Kolasinac is almost humping Mo Salah in the corner, not allowing him to get away with anything. You know what I mean? He was on him, and it was brilliant to watch. So yeah, for me, look, I'm going to give it to the manager simply because that team was well prepared, played with real conviction, and played with real ambition. Okay, and it's the one thing I look for in sport, is to go out there and play with ambition. It's the reason I love certain players like Rambo and stuff like that. They're always attacking. They're always, you look at Alex Iwobi's performance, as Josh said. He's now playing with conviction and ambition. And that's got a lot to do with the manager. So phenomenal. Okay, chat box. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Well, actually, first of all, it's 230 of you watching. I want to get 119 likes. That's shameful. Oh my God, what are you doing? Come on, tappy. Let's get going. Let's have a crack here. 150 would be lovely today. After that performance, why don't you try to match the team and give me 150 likes? That'd be lovely. Also, I was talking about it before the show today. Dom is asking, where are you guys from? Give us an idea of where you're from around the world, okay? Because obviously you're not just in the UK and the USA. You're from all over. So put down where you're from in the box, and Dom will read out a few of the places later, okay? We're going to go to questions now. So let's have a look at the questions. With my bloody internet, this will take about 25 minutes. Okay, so the first one is from Ronry on Twitter. Question for the radio show. I can't get to you. Henri, we miss you. You're always a stalwart of this show. So I hope you're doing well, mate. Would you have taken a point? John, you for this first. Would you have taken a point before the start of the game? And what would be a good return with the 7 fixtures running up to Christmas?
Before the game, I would have taken a point. As I said, I was really nervous going into this, and I thought there'd be a game that we might lose, possibly lose. 7 games running up to Christmas. I'm very quickly looking at our fixture list. We've got Bournemouth, Wolves. I mean, I think if we can keep on beat the teams that we're expected to beat, I know it's never done on paper, but essentially, if we're getting wins out of those 7 games, apologies, I don't know every single match in that. I haven't got the lineups here.
Okay, well, bear me a second. Here they are. Okay, I'll just do the league ones, okay? Yep. Wolves, Bournemouth, Tottenham, okay, United, Huddersfield,
yep,
Southampton, and Burnley.
Well, if you ignore Spurs and United for a minute, I would hope for wins from all the others. I don't think that's too much for us for the way we've been playing. I know we drew against Palace, but there's a little dip. That's fine. And I would like at least a point from the United and the Spurs game. I think trying to get a win, expecting a win against United, I think is fair. The Tottenham game, it's a derby. Anything can happen. I'm never happy with a point, but I take it.
Okay, listeners, John is wrong. We expect maximum points, and if anything less will be an absolute failure. Okay, and that's the end of that. Dom. Daz316 asks, do you think this is the best you've played under Unai?
I do. I think overall, in terms of attack, defence, the opposition we played, the intensity, we managed to hold our intensity level throughout the 90 minutes. I felt that we finished the stronger of the 2 teams as well. And that is, again, speaking from a fitness perspective, extremely positive to see that in a really high intense energy game like that, we came out on top in terms of the fitness. And that can quite often be what wins you a lot of points. That last 5 to 10 minutes of a game, if you can hold your tempo and your energy levels, as we've seen, we've scored a lot of late goals and a lot of second half goals. So that's an extremely positive thing to see. But in terms of complete performance, 100%. I think for me that does set a tone or set a benchmark for performances for the rest of the season. Now, in saying that, not every team's going to come and give us that much space and be that intense. There's going to be a lot of teams that will come to the Emirates and sit back and do nothing, and they're going to be really frustrating games. So, I think that 100% though, that was overall, all things considered, our best performance. What do you think?
By a mile. By an absolute mile. The quality of play, the intensity, the speed of the game, as you say. As I said earlier on, that's the performance I've been waiting for from this team and this manager, and they didn't disappoint. As Josh said, substitutes came on, made an impact. Danny Welbeck, the way he brought that ball down, if only it hadn't hit his hand, we could have been celebrating a win. It was. I enjoyed watching that game of football, which I don't always do because I get too excited. But there you go. Josh, Daryl Kane asks, does anyone object to me buying a Torreira jersey? I'm 6 foot, 250 pounds of Irish beer muscles. But that part where he took 2 balls away from Liverpool made my mind up. What do you think, Josh?
I think it's fine. We're not going to get confused. So, yeah. Rather sounds a thing.
The best answer we've had all day for anything.
Oh, Josh saves his appearance today with that. Well played. I like that a lot. Carly, I'll take this one. Carly Duelguna asks, what's all the bitching about by the commentators for Mane's goal? Mane's goal was legit because he was behind Firmino. Screw them. I couldn't give a monkeys. 1-1. Who cares? Poor Scousers. They've got away with enough over their years, so it's nice for it to be the other way around. John, Jove82 asks, seeing that this fixture is a good indication of where we are at the moment, are we where you expected us to be at the start of the season?
I expected us to be somewhere around 4th or 5th, so I suppose in terms of league position, yeah. I didn't expect us to be this close on points, though. In sort of terms of the top 2-3 teams, I thought there'd be a bigger gap than there is. And maybe as the season goes on, perhaps City might pull away a little bit more from everyone, and maybe Liverpool will stick with them. I don't know. But as of right now, yeah, we are certainly above my expectations.
Okay. Dom. Josh Page asks, should we bring back Reece Nelson from his loan in January?
100% no. And I'll tell you why. Because he is working finally. I've been saying this for a really long time, especially during World Cups and international tournaments, that England will never compete with the big boys because they all get homesick. They don't go out and spread their wings and experience different leagues, different managers, put themselves in uncomfortable positions and have to learn a new language. And I think that is extremely understated for a young English boy. I know Sancho's over there as well. And they're learning a different league, a different environment, different managers, no pressure from the English media like they would be had they been in England at any point. So what he's going to get out of staying there is going to be more beneficial to us long term than what we're going to get by bringing him back in January and lumping all these expectations on him. Let's just leave the kid alone. Let's let him develop. Let's praise the kid for having the stones to go over there in the first place, because not many young English players do. And hopefully it leads to more doing it, because for the guys that have done it, it seems like it's been incredibly positive. So I would prefer to go and get somebody else on loan for us for 6 months and let him continue to develop, because I think as well, he's getting game time. He's producing good performances. If he comes back and we try to shoehorn him into our side, he's not going to get the minutes that he's getting in Germany right now.
Yeah.
And you're kind of just hamstringing his potential development. So I'm big on a big no for that for me. And I don't think we will. I genuinely don't think that we would be bringing him back in January.
I think it would be lunacy to bring him back. I've got to be honest with you. I think you let him carry on the way he's going and build that confidence, which will help him challenge in this team.
And just for the chat box, I'm not saying that we don't go and get someone else. We don't sign someone else. We don't get someone else on loan. But in terms of bringing Nelson back, it's a big no from me.
Yeah, he's a long-term project, isn't he?
Yeah, I do want another winger, don't get me wrong. But bringing him back's not the answer for me.
Okay. Josh, Marble Halls TV asks, should we sell Mkhitaryan? He was okay this game, but when he's played, he hasn't offered much. Your thoughts?
Yeah, we've been going through this in the last week in like our own WhatsApp group. Who are the players that look like they're not going to make it under Emery? Mkhitaryan was one of them that, perhaps he's got, Chinese Super League written all over him. As that kind of player would do all right there, but it's difficult. He could go into a run of form across Christmas and say, no, we can't, he's indispensable to the team. But he does look like a prime candidate at the moment, that if we need to get in some funds and open up the wage bill, then he looks like a prime candidate for me to go out, especially whilst we've got other players in the same position that are in form.
Yet Unai chooses to start him in our biggest game of the season to date.
He's got experience, to be fair, and I think that's probably why he's put him out there. He obviously does stuff in training that we don't see, but in terms of the match day performances, they're not up there with what you'd expect for a player of that kind of quality, especially since the beginning of January when he came in for us. That kind of couple of months with him and Aubameyang, he was an absolute revelation and a breath of fresh air for us.
Okay. No, it's fine. It's just it's interesting to see people's thoughts. He is somebody who you could get money for. You ain't getting anything for Ramsey if he leaves for nothing. Do you know what I mean? So it's I think it's a good perspective to have.
You get some for Rambo if you sold him to the English League in January. That's it.
Look, let's be honest. He's not going to go for nothing. Why is he going to turn down a payday? He can just refuse to be sold. If the club are telling him no, you're not getting another contract. Why are you going to allow the club to make money off you when you can get all that money for yourself in 6 months' time? It doesn't make sense.
It was about the money for him, was it? Or is it?
It's always about the money.
It's about his ego, Josh. It's about his ego.
Yeah, it's about his ego. His ego's massive. He's going to want that payday for himself.
You helped him out there, John. You helped him out there, John. He was on the ropes.
No. Nowhere near. Funny
I
enough,
had to, otherwise this show would never finish.
No, question actually. Pete Colson asks, I'll take this one. Do we keep choose? Do we keep Rambo or do we sign a world-class 70 million plus centre-back? Neither's going to happen, mate. I don't see us keeping I can see Ramsey staying, but we ain't signing anybody for 70 million quid, not a centre-back. That ain't going to happen. Apparently we can't afford Ramsey's contract now, so, no, I don't see it happening. John, Guna73 asks, who's our most improved player under Emery?
It's got to be Iwobi.
Yeah.
Surely. He's been so good. He's putting in consistent performances, and rather than little flashes like we saw when he first broke into the team. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving watching him at the moment. Our Nigerian Messi, as they like to call him in the changing room on their Snapchat and Instagram and whatever else, they all like to wind him up about that. But yeah, he's been brilliant.
Absolutely. And finish it off, Dom Mayank Nagendran asks, is centre-back still a priority for the transfer window, or would you go for a winger?
I think I would go for a winger, personally. I wasn't as down on our centre-backs as what everybody else seemed to be, because I think a lot of the issues with the centre-back came from the midfield last season, and that midfield just being run through by absolutely everybody, and our centre-backs running back towards goal trying to defend constantly. So I've got a feeling that the upturn in form that we've seen from Mustafi and Holding and Socrates when they've come in is a little bit more so to do with Xhaka and Torreira than it is anything else. I don't think we've had bad centre-backs necessarily. They're still trying to find a good partnership because centre-backs work in partnerships, but would it be good to have a Van Dijk back there? Obviously, yes, it would. But, if Koscielny can come back and potentially, add to that, I don't think we're as in trouble there as what people think. But for me, I've noticed that our fullbacks are having to do a lot of our attacking play down the wings because we don't have those wingers going out wide. You've got, Aubameyang cutting in and Mkhitaryan cutting in, and Iwobi's really the only kid that's been out there that's given us that genuine width, which is probably why he's been so important for us. So for me, I would bring in another winger that doesn't mind getting some chalk on their boots.
Okay, cool. Right, where are the listeners from? Where are they from, John?
We had all sorts. We had Iceland. We had a few from India. We had a lot from the America, which is nice to see. We had someone from Trinidad. We've got them from all over the place, which is really, really good to see.
I saw Stockholm, Sweden.
Stockholm, yep. Stockholm Syndrome, absolutely.
Yeah, Cayman in Canada, Mayank Neil in India, a few from London, Sealaw, Michael Hanneman, Jack Bradley, Klaka Pultost, I hope I've said that correctly, Norway, Daniel Kupka, Czech Republic.
Raknevik was
Sweden.
In there somewhere.
Yeah. Ukraine, Albuquerque, California, Detroit, Port of Spain, Trinidad. Wow. Tennessee, Atlanta. Goonie 73, Kent. Nothing wrong with Kent. That's great.
Petito 100. Sorry.
Another tour.
Petito 100's just chucked in a donation. Thank you so much, Petito. You're an absolute star. Never panic today. Last year, I would have died, he says. I get that. Sorry, carry on, John.
Kelly Mayer with Best Country, Canada. It's probably just because Dom's there now. Big Bunny Kane from Spain. Brandon McCallum, Republic of Texas. I like that. He's from the Republic of Texas. He's not from
Ooh.
America. That's great. But yeah, all over the world. So thank you all, as always, for joining us. The chat box is brilliant. You know what I love best, Jace, is sometimes when you go off on a rant, in particular about Ramsey, I can just sort of zone out, ignore you, and I can read the chat box, and they're all having a lovely conversation amongst themselves.
It's great, isn't it?
Dingo from Malaysia. There we go. Wow.
I haven't ranted today. I haven't
know.
ranted.
I mean, I haven't got to
good.
zone out and read as much of the chat box, so it's a little bit disappointing, I'll be honest.
Oh, do you want me to rant? No, we're not ranting. That's it. It's over. It's over today. A bit like the game. Lord Hillwood's in Warsaw, by the way. If you're ever in Warsaw, give Lord Hillwood a shout. He'll go for a beer. Chat box has been amazing. Thank you very much. You've been superb. In particular, Brendan Almeida, Jack Badley, Daryl Kane, Tieno Barry, and Petito 100. Petito's a long-time friend of the show, and we admire him a lot. Top man. You guys are absolutely superb, and we really, really appreciate it. I've still only got 132 likes. What the hell is going on? Seriously, come on. Let's go. Let's go. 18 more, and I'm happy. I'm happy.
Two more quick ones, Jay. Sorry. Formerly knows us from Japan. I did not know that.
Are you?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And Daniel Schuldenfrei, Israel, as well.
Ooh.
We really are international. Look at that.
And we're holy. What can I say?
Tappy for Taffy Taffy. I do love that hashtag.
Damn right.
Great.
I know what the hell's going on, though, do I? No, you've been superb, chat box. If anybody's listening on other formats, you're used to this by now, but I'll go through it again. If you want to be part of the chat box, subscribe to the YouTube channel and click on the bell icon. You'll be let know whenever we go live. We go live after every game, so you can just join us. Come and join us. It's a lot of fun in there. We got some brilliant people, and it's just enjoyable. To those of you listening on other formats, thank you for listening as well. We really do appreciate it. If you want to give us an iTunes rating, 5 would be lovely. Really would. I'd really appreciate that. And, all the boys would as well. Podcast this week, I've no idea who's on it, because I don't think Danny's organised it yet.
I think it's me, Josh, and
Danny.
Is it just us three?
And then there's another mystery guest.
Oh, yeah, there's a mystery guest as well. Yes.
Ooh, mystery guest. I wonder who that could be.
I have no idea. It's just because we've forgotten. We don't actually know who.
I know who it won't. I know who it won't be. It won't be Ramsey.
Well, apparently he wants too much money. What can I say? After the Lisbon game, there's another live show. That will be Danny, Josh, and myself. We look forward to seeing you then. It's been a great game today. Really enjoyed it. Shame we couldn't have won, but what the hell? It was a brilliant performance. My thanks to John, Dom, and even Josh, who turned up late and was trying to be combative. But we'll forgive him. We'll forgive him. Thanks, lads.
Yeah, it was good. Josh definitely
Cheers.
won joke of the day, to be fair.
Yeah, nice change, isn't it? I tell you, first of all, Ellis gets a sense of humour. Now, Josh, what's going on? I don't know I'm getting confused. Thank you very much, guys. You're absolutely superb. We really appreciate it. Take care. Have a great night. Keep it Arsenal. John, switch us off.